Welcome to Historic Investments. My name is Leonardo Anteris. I head the operation, and we get a number of questions concerning some of the more unusual pistols that we've imported into this country. What I thought we'd review today are some of the things that you should consider before buying one of the earliest variations, Swiss military P49 pistols. Let's jump right in. This is a great gun. It's one of the earliest examples of the Swiss military P49. The first 9,710 guns were finished just like this. A beautiful, lustrous, high-polished blue and walnut serrated grips. All the guns were finished with 4 numbered components. The full serial number, always with a capital A prefix, was applied to the frame, to the slide. The full serial number was applied to the barrel and to the hammer group that we'll get into later. The guns were fitted with a slide release that was checkered, a spare magazine that was also brightly polished, a holster compartmentalized for a spare magazine that was invariably manufacturer marked and dated on the obverse surface. One of the things that you should look for and indeed question before buying such a gun was whether it has been refinished. One of the best indicators is to look at the proof mark. This proof was applied after the firearm was finished. The metal around the proof mark should be welled up, and there's often a little bit of fading. The other thing that you should look at, as much curiosity as anything else, is to whether the gun went through the usual deaccession channels. And if so, there'll be a capital P, usually on the left side of the trigger guard, occasionally on the forward bow. And by the way, as part of the bluing process and maybe the differences in metallurgy, some of these frames have got a plum hue to them rather than blue, so that shouldn't disturb you. The other thing that you should look for is the size and location of the importer marks. Most importers now will put their markings on the bottom of the frame. After all, this is a pretty expensive gun, and you don't want to cosmetically disfigure it by putting on loud or cosmetically objectionable import marks. So let's now go ahead and disassemble the gun, which we previously checked to ensure that it was unloaded. I'm going to retract the slide a little bit so I can push the slide stop out of the frame, take the slide off, and just gently nudge this hammer assembly out of the frame, which is friction fit. And then at this point, you should check to see if the serial number of the hammer assembly matches that of the other components. At some point, the guns were recalled, with many of them having been refit with a hammer having a half cock. So again, if you want an original gun, make sure that the hammer assembly has the matching number and the hammer does not have the half cock. Reassembly is just the reverse of what we've already done, and it's a very straightforward. Okay, you line up the holes here, push in the axle, retract the slide, and the slide snaps right in. The next thing you should pay attention to is the details of the magazine. Highly polished guns were fitted with highly polished magazines. These should have polishing marks parallel to the spine in the upper portion and perpendicular to the spine in the lower portion near the floor plate. By the way, unlike many other guns, the magazines were never serial numbered. They were unnumbered parts. As far as the holster is concerned, it's a nice supple leather holster. Check to make sure that the original stitching is intact. Make sure that it's a military holster with a manufacturing date that largely corresponds with the pistol production. This particular holster has been fitted with a battle-ready stud to allow faster access to the pistol under emergent conditions. And what you do is you fold the flap back and then you attach it to the stud. When you want better or quicker access to the pistol, you're not fumbling around with the flap. You can just reach in and grab the firearm. Thank you for having joined us on Historic Investments. Hopefully you found this video on the SIG P49 interesting and informative. Hopefully it'll help you with your next purchase decision. Thank you.